Alright guys, this is take two. First take, something went wrong. YouTube said that, just disconnected for no apparent reason. My internet does that. I'm recording this straight on YouTube through my webcam on the laptop. That's where you are in my mind. Alright, so Werewolf the Apocalypse. Great role-playing game. Really love it. This is a first impressions vid. Gives you a lot of options for role play, which I really like. First of all, let's talk about character creation because it's extremely important. Now, what you're gonna do with your stats is, I believe it's got my character sheet right here. Oh yeah. All right. It's for your attributes, which in D&D would be the same thing. I'm comparing this to D&D because I realize most people play D&D or some sort of D20 based system. So getting to know something else is good if you use comparisons, in my opinion. Um, you got the physical ones: strength, dexterity, stamina. Social is charisma, manipulation, appearance. Mental is perception, intelligence, and wits. Now, this is not going to be too in-depth of a video. It's sort of a first impression, broad overview. I will be doing a more how should I put this, in-depth, thorough video of this system later, which I normally don't do, but I really love this system. Um, more, arguably more important than that for roleplay purposes is your breed, your auspice, or your tribe. Now let's start with breed and I'll work our way down. I'm reading this straight off the character sheet, doing everything else from memory. First impressions, how it's supposed to be. Alright, your breed is either going to be lupus, which of whom are wolves that became people when they first changed into a werewolf. Natural wolves, like what you see running around in the woods, or what you've probably never seen, but seen in every fantasy thing ever. And then you've got humids, which are the normal werewolves that you usually see on TV and stuff. They're humans that are born werewolves, and the first change doesn't happen for a very long time, or adolescence usually, but sometimes longer during a period of extreme duress. Same with all the other ones. Then you've got metis, who are in the, like, 9-foot snarling death beast form as the guru, which is what the werewolves call themselves, guru. I believe I pronounced that correctly, might not have. Now, they're looked down on. They always have a physical deformity. Metis come from two werewolves, actual werewolves that mated. Kind of not supposed to do that. It's against the litany, which is sort of like their laws. Now, you're probably wondering how you get other werewolves. It's not through a bite. If a werewolf bites you, you're probably going to die because it's trying to kill you. No, no, no. You actually would just mate with a normal human woman or a wolf, like the animal. Yeah. Well, if you were born a wolf, a lupus, mating with another wolf, your natural form probably wouldn't be bestiality, but for a homid, I guess if you really embraced your wolf side, it wouldn't be as questionable to people of our standing, but we're putting our own impressions on a different society. Fictional one, albeit. Alright, so, by the way, that light going down is my, screensaver dimmer thing kicking on. It's probably gonna do that every 4 minutes, so I'll try to keep this short. Or, short for me. That's a basic overview of the big three. They all have different traits. The lupus, interestingly enough, have a lot of class skills restricted skills and knowledges that you can't spend points, initial creation points. Now there's the initial things you get to spend, and then there's freebie points that can be spent on literally anything. Alright. Auspice is the phase of the moon you're born under. It's also determines your role within the pack and your general personality, or stereotyped personality. There is a rite, which is a ritual, and these are very powerful but take quite a lot of time to learn. I believe 3 weeks per level, if you're doing the game properly. and then number of hours or minutes to perform for various effects. Um, Again, you've got tricksters, which I believe are abadash, thurges, which is what I am. You've got philodox, which of whom are basically the mediators. Then you've got moon dancers, which of whom are like bards. Yeah, they're awesome, though. They really are. They actually have the most rage, which is kind of funny because the warriors next, they just beat stick of the werewolves. I love that. Because werewolves by themselves, believe you me, are beat sticks. Just by the powers they have alone for being werewolves, regardless of what you put on the character sheet. You can destroy something with your bare hands in your wolf forms. It is very daunting. In fact, one of the forms causes delirium. I love that so much. People go insane at the sight of you. It's like amazing. Now I'm going to talk about tribes. The Uktena is the one I picked. Mostly Native American. Um, Basically, they feel some sort of kinship or brotherhood with, or just some sort of fellowship, depending on how you view your individual guru, with the disenfranchised people who have been forced out of their homes. This can be anyone from people living on Indian reservations, Trail of Tears. Think, how, well, hoods, for one, depending on your perspective on that. People who kind of are on the fringes of society and have to live in sketchy neighborhoods. Also, people in Africa being forced out of their homes. Really, anywhere in the world this is happening is where you'll find them. Quick overview of the tribes I can remember off the top of my head, going from the first. I can remember the Children of Gaia. The only tribe to be formed out of peace. There was the Impergium long ago, and I realize I'm talking a lot about lore, but that's kind of what first impression should be. Less mechanics, more lore. Again, in depth later. Basically, there's the Impergium, where the wolves were culling the numbers of humanity, and I believe that history does change between the book I have, which is no longer in print, and from what the guy at the store told me, has been recalled to the new W20, the Werewolf Apocalypse 20th anniversary. Get Fenris, very, very tough warrior tribe. They have a lot of tough warriors. Now they're going to really want to weed out the weak. They're very big on purebreds, which are people. Instead of it's like your dad was a werewolf and or your mom or dad was a werewolf and mated with something not a werewolf. Um, that's not going to earn you much credit, but your father was a werewolf, your grandfather was a werewolf, your grandmother was a werewolf, dating back centuries. That will earn you mad respect amongst them. A lot of their initiation rituals, a lot of people die in them. They want to weed out the weak. They only care about strength. The weak will die off. The Fianna are sort of Celtic in heritage, so you got your English, your Irish, your Scottish. They're the greatest bards, from what I can tell, for wild pagan parties that everyone loves. By the way, in the book I have at least, you can, when you're looking up tribes, you can look up stereotypes for other tribes. Very useful. Now, getting back to more skill stuff, you assign your attributes 5, 3, 7, 5, 3. You assign them in whichever category you want. So I put 7 in mental, so I have 7 points to spend in mental. Now you do get a free point in everything from perception, intelligence, charisma. You get at least 1 point in that for free, and then you just assign more as you please. So you basically just pick what you want your character most focused on. You want a really athletic, strong, and tough person, put that 7 in physical. If you want to be really smart, put it in mental. And just basically prioritizing. Same with the abilities, interestingly enough. It is a 13, 9, 5. Very good. Then you get 15 freebie points to spend on whatever you want. You get a free gift, one from your breed, one from your Ospice, and one from your tribe. See, I told you that was important. But there's backgrounds and rage and renown, but I digress. I want to talk more about my first session. Now, what I really liked about this is it is a storyteller-based system. You don't have a dungeon master, you have a storyteller. Your character's in the story, and it drives on that point very well. This is what role-playing games are supposed to be. D&D is more combat-oriented. So is Anima, arguably. This is story-based. There will be some combat if your storyteller wants it, or you're probably going to screw something up, or something's going to go wrong, because that's how a storyteller's supposed to run a game, in my opinion. If everything went perfectly, you'd get bored. Trust me. Now, with that, you have a lot of opportunities for roleplay. You're disguising yourselves as humans, essentially, if you're in the city. Glasswalkers and bone gnashers are based around the city. They're very good at that, if you build them right. We were doing an investigation thing. And I sold my cover to. I got one more point of experience than everyone else, just for I believe roleplay and heroism, because I put myself more in danger. Even though I'm not the beat stick, Lobo, Adam, I'm looking at you because I know you sometimes watch my videos. Yeah, although I did tell you to stay behind, so it's not really your fault. But anyways, we were actually a bunch of bodies that got missing. I was originally the storyteller. And then I sort of saw him have all this enthusiasm and kept, in character, we were going to him for some information. I was just going to slip him a note, but he started feeding us information that I hadn't told him. Like, oh yeah, I've seen a lot of pale dudes around recently. Sort of his way of giving me a hint as to what he wanted. And I went, you know what, we talked about you running this, because he was originally supposed to be the storyteller. He didn't have everything prepared. We didn't have enough time, so I just tried to crack at it because we wanted to play. So I let him take over, and then sort of just eased the mantle on over. I hope he watches this, because I'm going to send him a link. Anyways, that's enough meta for one moment. So we do that. I get him a burger, because the best way to make a bone gnasher. He's not among my tribe, although Adam is. Thanks, buddy. You're my bro in real life and in every role-playing game we've ever played together, and I really appreciate that. Free shout-outs in my video to someone who doesn't have a channel. Alright. So we do that, and I buy a bag of weed, because I'm the spirit guy, and we're supposed to make offerings to spirits, and he thinks that buying weed and tobacco and making an offering to the spirit he's wanting to connect with, in this case, whatever's the biggest spirit in town, is to bring them tobacco, weed, and smoke a joint with them. He prefers to buddy up with things as opposed to just being like, we're going to have a contract. He's more like, no, dude, I want to get to know you. It's just my personal style of play. I like to make friends as opposed to contacts. Your contact, my phone. You can buy me. You can get me drugs or guns. No, no, no. You're my buddy, and sometimes I'll call on you for a favor. How I like to do things. So we were setting that up, and eventually we got directed to the mall, because a lot of the pale goth kids that we were suspicious of being the murderers were hanging around there. So we get to the mall and ask them, where do these kids usually hang out? Well, Hot Topic. Okay, so I go to Hot Topic and I ask him. He's like, yeah, we see a lot of guys like that. They usually hang around the back of the mall. They usually wear all black. I'm like, cool, so what in here's black? He's like, everything in the store, because it's Hot Topic. So my guy usually wears jeans, white tees, and sneakers, and kind of just does yard work for a living. Basically goes and buys nothing but goth gear. And then buys a messenger bag that has the vampire symbol on it. So I get that as a disguise, and then the storyteller mentions that there's an occult shop across the way. I have a lot of points in occult. I'm very good with tarot cards. Yeah, I'm very good with tarot cards. My grammar's horrible. I do not edit this. This is a straight run through. That's how first impression should be, and I don't know how to edit videos. Don't mock me. I have fun with these. Even though I feel like I'm talking to a mirror. Kind of going crazy. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. So we go in there, my guy slams his hand on the table. Tarot cards! So the guy points me to the tarot cards, and I use my spirit sense BS. Spirit guy, I can kind of do stuff like that. It's not so much I have a spirit sense power, so much as just an understanding between me and the DM that I'm more sensitive to those sort of things, because it's my job. Anyways, so I find one that is demonic and has the taint of the worm on it. Now, we're not really supposed to carry stuff like that, but I'm building a cover. I already have a bag that has their symbol on it. I don't care. So I buy that in the angelic deck, and I keep looking around, and he tells me something catches my eye. It's an old bronze pocket watch with the symbol of the guru, and my character feels as if he's meant to have it. So I go up there and ask how much it is. He's like, well, I don't really price things, so $50, which happened to be all the money I had. Way to go, storyteller. Worked out perfectly, though. So I get all that, go outside, tell them to wait around the corner so that they're still within eye shot of me, meaning the eyesight and earshot, so they can see me. We all have heightened senses, by the way, so we're all sort of like super perception beings. We all pick the same gift. It's kind of funny. Anyways, we don't even really use the mechanic for it at this point. We're just like, yep, we've all got it. So I go outside and approach them, dressed as a goth kid, like them, with the bag, and they're sort of like, who are you? What do you want? Oh, you know, I was just sort of chilling out around back. So just shrug my shoulder and show off my vampire symbol messenger bag. That kind of was my way to get in. So then, walk up to them, I'm like, alright, any of you guys believe in tarot card readings? You know, sort of using my natural, mysterious, mystical nature to my advantage. And, you know, they're like, yeah, we do. I'm like, alright, cool, $10. Guy gives me $10. I'm like, light or darkness? Holding out the two decks, one in each hand. He's like, darkness, of course. So I took out the evil worm-tainted demonic deck thing. And, I think he got, like, death, judgment. No, it was like it was like the three worst arcana in the tarot card deck. It was like, forget the first one, then it was like judgment, ill-dignified, and then death, ill-dignified, and he just gets more and more depressed and looks guilty. So it's basically like proof that he's involved. These weren't actual vampires, they were ghouls from what I remember. They were half-turned. Again, first impression, trying to give you as much of the roleplay stuff. Sorry if that broke you out of it. Not that all of my other rants didn't. Back to what we were doing. So I, you know, sell this really well and sort of just keep talking with them, trying to get information out of them. I don't think I made any rolls for it. I probably should have, but, you know, we're all new at this. So, you know, eventually one of them sort of starts getting suspicious of me asking questions. I become more and more inclined to ask about things of vampiric nature until I just say, so, what are you vampires doing back here? And they all look at me. And they're like, you're a werewolf, aren't you? I'm like, what? And he slams me against the wall. I'm like, what? No, what are you talking about? I came here to become a vampire like you guys. And I'm having to make willpower rolls because being around a worm-tainted creature makes me want to flip shit. But, you know, wanted to keep it cool until the right moment. And I keep selling this and just, you know, still trying to get information out of this guy. Then he pulls out the pocket watch that has guru symbols, and he's like, oh, really? You're not a werewolf? Rage dice. Toss a bunch of rage dice. I've got primal urge, helps me shift faster, goes straight to that Krynos form, got points in brawl. One claw to the face, decapitated. It was their leader. The other two, there was 5 of them in all. 2 of them were like freaking out. The other 2 take off running. Then Adam, being Adam, pulls out his Colt 44 Anaconda and shoots 2 of them behind the mall. Yeah. So, out of character, I'm like, no, Adam, don't do that! But it's too late. He's already shot it. The DM's like, the storyteller's like, do you want to retcon? I'm like, no, we have to roll with this. We can't cheat. It's the first session. So then the rest of them sort of get picked off. I think Dan, the storyteller's character, shoots one in the leg near me. Adam kills the other 2. We're pretty casual about this at this point. We just want to clean this shit up and get it back on track. Also, I did offer them a cigarette before I did the tarot card thing to buddy them up. There's also me offering a kid in the back alley a cigarette and him being very hesitant to take it because for some reason he thought I was a cop. Didn't say that, but when I told him I wasn't a cop, he immediately took it. Whatever. Anyways. Really love this game. So that happens, and then we capture one, and then apparently Dan is known as the cleaner, and he has the ability to clean up crime scenes. We're like, okay, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I don't care if the storyteller's trying to have every power in the world, you know. But, so we do that, throw all the bloody crap in the back of their van, which of whom we stole, and then basically kept the one alive. I actually have medicine, so I stop his bleeding while he's still unconscious and bind his hands in the back. Use the rags from the shredded clothing that aren't completely soaked in blood to clean myself off because I'm sitting naked in the back of a windowless van that full of dead bodies. This literally of teenage boys. This literally cannot look any more sketchy, even though I look high school age in the game. Um, so we get back and we eventually wake him up. There's some roleplay along the way that Adam didn't care for because I made his character look bad. Anyways, we all know each other in real life, like away from the gaming table, so we have a lot of fun with these. This is me telling you the story. Again, mechanics come later. Don't leave comments about that. Not that anyone leaves comments. Anyways, so we get back, and I used some enhanced interrogation techniques, by which I mean I woke him up and then sort of slapped him around a bit. I wasn't actually intending to torture him, even though when he was at first resistant to questioning, I don't know anything. Go get the car battery. So by the time he gets back, I've already mostly finished up with it. I wasn't planning on using the damn thing, but I'm going to scare the shit out of this kid. He's seen me in Chronos form, the thing that makes people go insane from seeing it. He has a natural fear of me. He knows who's boss. So we get some information out of him. Apparently he didn't even want to do it, blah, blah, blah. Didn't want to be a vampire ghoul thing, blah, 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 blah. Warehouse is where his master is, because that's what I kept asking about. But I went, okay, thanks for the info. Strangle. He's helpless. Didn't even have to make a die roll. So we pretty much took the van out into the middle of apparently desert-like region in the middle of Alabama. Not sure where that is, but who gives a fuck? We didn't determine the state then. We sort of retconned that the state was Alabama later through Skype calls. So we basically torqued the van using chemicals. We weren't actually sure which chemicals to use, and we basically torqued the inside, blew up the gas tank, and I walked. Then, as that all happened, I walked a cigarette and walked away slowly. I love modern day games where I can light a cigarette and walk away like a badass. Again, well, I don't think I told you this. Lupus, born a wolf, really likes guns, has yet to learn to use them. I could have used the freebie points to purchase them because my class breed does restrict learning firearms at the beginning, but hey, I wanted to learn it in-game. Because teaching a wolf who's only been a human for 6 months to shoot a gun and drive a vehicle is role-playing gold. Especially when he's a CSI Miami fan, by the way, is high investigation and believes that all detectives are similar to Horatio Caine, or they say one-liners. And also a big Dirty Harry fan, so he's getting a big-ass revolver. I looked at the prices, and I had the amount saved up I need already, and the vampire things already had $500 on them and a bunch of silver knives that I'm going to sell. So I've got $2,500 to spend on guns and shit. Oh yeah. I googled everything I wanted because there aren't prices in the book. One thing that does piss me off is that there aren't prices in the book. I had to Google stuff, which is fine because I always do research on my weapons. Now, I would definitely recommend the Gentleman's Gamer review of this system, game, whatever tool set, whatever you want to call it. It's a great in-depth review, in my opinion. He talks a lot. It's got good pacing. Mine is just a first impression. Now, I do not do reviews, ever. What I do is I give people new ideas. This was the first impression to give you an idea of how my first session went, and also talk a bit about the system. Now, without further ado, thank you for your time, and have a nice night in the world of darkness.